Whose dreams will be more pleasant? Dreams from a person who is working on themselves, or dreams from a person who is ignoring what she needs to work on? Stay tuned to find out which. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello and welcome, everybody.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and heroes on their journey, because that's what you are. As a dreamer, you're a hero on a journey. And that's why we focus on dreams. If you want to know what you're meant to be doing in your life at this very moment in time, right now, then look no further than your dreams. Through analyzing your dreams, I reveal your potential and the obstacles you need to overcome. I'm very specific. I tell you what your superpowers are, what makes you magnificent, and the bumps in life that are holding you back. But these bumps are not in the way, they are the way. To get your dream analyzed on our show, go to dream-analysis.com/podcast and fill in the form there and submit it to the show. Or simply email radioshow@dream-analysis.com. That's all you have to do. Sandy.
All righty. Yes, and please do it because we love getting in new dreams. But guess what, Michael? Last week we had our free dream clinic and it was phenomenal. It was really a lot of fun. You got through quite a few dreams. But if you want to go see it, you can watch it after the fact at Free Dream Clinic, all one word, freedreamclinic.com. And you'll be able to see the latest show. Now, Michael, I believe we have some upcoming courses. What's going on?
Well, yeah,
give us the details.
We always do. Okay, so if you're interested in getting any work done on yourself, getting maybe 50 dreams or so done, we do a program we run every so often. I call it the Dream Tracker's Guide because I like that name. But it's really about figuring out what your life purpose is, what your gifts are, and then picking the biggest issue you've got and working on that with us over a series of maybe 10 weeks. And we don't know how long it's going to take, but it varies from 8 weeks to like 16 weeks. And you get lots of dreams done in that period. But we call it a transformational course because it really does transform you. You will look at life differently from that moment in time. And not because of something intellectual that you've learned, but because your focus in life will have shifted, especially by doing the healing that's on that course. If you're interested in that, you can go to dream-analysis.com/courses and you can find on there a button where you can book a time with me to talk to me about anything you're interested in, to see if something would be a fit for you. We'd love to talk to you just to find that out. So we have lots of other things. We have a mentorship course coming up this month as well. If you're interested in learning to interpret dreams the way I do, we have that course too. You can go to the same place if you're interested, dream-analysis.com/courses. Find the button that allows you book a time to talk to me, and we can go over what the course covers, whether it would be a fit, etc., etc. And if you've ever done anything else with us, we give heavy discounts for that course. All right.
Yeah, but that course has the channeling aspect that a lot of people are interested in. So take a look at that. I think you guys might find that fun.
Of course, to interpret dreams, you have to be able to channel. So we teach you how to interpret dreams and we teach you how to channel. And then we also throw in a healing course because we want you to see the power of dreams. And the best way to see it is to apply it to yourself. And then if you're ever going to work with other people, which we hope you will after you finish that course, you will have a good idea, just firsthand, not a good idea. You will have firsthand experience of the power of dreams and how they can transform and help you in your life. Always, always super beneficial.
Yep. It's like having a psychic that whispers in your ear every night. I love it.
I always find it interesting to find quirky symbols because they're very personal to the dreamer and they prove to me over and over again, this is why you really shouldn't put too much stock in dream dictionaries, including my own. But I do say that in my own dream dictionary, that this is like, if you dream of a car, these are the 15 different things it can be about. And I give context for how to tell which one of those things it could be. So some symbols work very well, but you're never sure. For an individual, you're never sure. And it can be pretty unique. Speaking of dream dictionaries, you can get that at dream-analysis.com. Just fill in your details there and you can download it straight away. And there's thousands of symbols in that and you can work out what your own dreams are about.
Well, the best part about your method, Michael, the Aisling method, is not just one symbol in it. There are many symbols that try to show you what the dream's about, right? Isn't that what you always say?
It is, over and over again. It proves itself. So you will look up a symbol that you've had in your dream and it'll tell you you're a healer. And then you look up another symbol that's completely unrelated, appears, and it will also tell you you're a healer. So it proves itself to you by consistently telling you that the symbols from the same dreams mean the same things. And that's kind of cool.
That is really cool. Anyways, I'm ready to dive into some dreams. How about you?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Water and babies. And this is from Mary. I'm in Cranford, this town of my childhood. I'm in charge of at least one little baby. We are at a public park. I am watching these children. They are at the ocean, and we are all sitting on the beach at the ocean. I look into the water and I see one of the babies I'm in charge of lying at the bottom of the water. Oh my goodness. I run into the water to save him, but there is a very wise master swimmer there who indicates with his eyes to me to leave the baby there. Oh, wow. I am worried about the baby, but I take his advice and watch the baby at the bottom of the water. The baby is just glazing around contently in wonder. He's lying on his back, looking up just in wonderment of what is going on around him. He looks at me and is just very peaceful and just watching and looking around. As I'm watching this baby just enjoying being absolutely peaceful and calm underwater, I'm wondering when he is going to breathe. I'm thinking, this baby has to come up to breathe. And I watch and wait for him to try to take a breath, but the baby just remains calm and wondering. Finally, I think the baby is down there too long, so I go to get him. I see the instructor looked at me. Finally, it seems like an eternity. So I go down and get the baby, and then all the water disappears, and I'm standing there with another little boy about 5, and we're thinking, what happened to the water? And I said to the water is gone, but it'll be back tomorrow. That's cool, Michael.
You always say that. So what is this about? Because it seems crazy. It seems like she should go into the water and save the baby, right? But then we have a guide, the master swimmer. So anybody who, like a lifeguard, anybody who has a title in a dream, that's a really good indicator they're a guide. In fact, they're always a guide. And whatever they say or do is infallible. So what the guide is saying to her is to leave the baby there. Don't try to save the baby. So we know that despite what we would think as humans, like symbolically leaving the baby in the water is the right thing to do. So what does the water represent? It represents spirituality and it represents life. In fact, life is a spiritual journey. So everything in life is about spirituality, regardless of whether you're into this field or not. And the baby's at the bottom of the water, looking around, gazing around in wonder. And so the dream is saying, this is what you need to do. You need to submerge yourself in life and just gaze around and wonder, enjoy it. And don't be trying to be, what is she being? Overprotective. So the dream is saying she's overprotective and this is impacting her spiritual development. She goes into things and then cuts it short because either it's taken too much time or too much money or whatever it is, doesn't matter. She's going to have a reason that she's going to cut it off. And when I talked to Mary about this, she confirmed it. She said, yeah, absolutely, I do that. But to her, it seems like a reasonable thing to do or a reasonable reason to stop. But it's really her overprotective self is what's stepping in. And the guy at the start is good. He shows her to allow for the experience with the child at the bottom of the water. And we see at the end of the dream, he's going to show up again, but he's going to play a different role.
So now back to more of the dream. Instead of the water, now there's a big field of grass and there's all grass. So we start walking home. We are walking on the right side of the road on the sidewalk. Then I notice there's this meeting we should be going to. There's a small, clear glass building on my right. Everyone is going to it. The doors are all wide open. There are actually 2 rooms in the building. There's a separate room at the front where important people are in. These are the people that are the board of the people running the meeting. It's kind of like a church setup where the front is separate from where people sit. The people who are sitting in the rows waiting for the meeting to begin, watching this room. As I go back in, I see the mother of the little baby. She knows I'm taking him home with me. But then there's another little boy in there with red and white t-shirt and red hair. He wants to come with me. So he comes running out, and the mom knows if I have 2 of them, it will be a handful. But I said, no, he can come with me. He's good with me. And she said, well, he tells stories all the time. And then there's another little boy there too. And he says he never stops talking. He's always telling stories. The mother of the little boy had a purple left hand glove. She gave it to me to bring with the little boy. I said, no problem. So the little boy with the red and white t-shirt and red hair decided to come with me, and we walked down the street. The red-headed boy had on a headphones, and it was listening to something as we were walking. I could hear through the headphones someone talking. As we get over to the house, I see up on the top floor on the right, as well as a well-lit room where the master swimmer is practicing martial arts. I was planning on taking the kids up there to play when I got home, but I'll wait for him to finish.
So taking the second part, we have the big field of grass. We have a glass building. So this is all about the heart and intuition. So the dreamer has a strong intuitive connection, feminine energy connection that she's meant to listen to. And she says there's very important people in this glass, the front part of this church kind of thing. So again, sticks with spirituality, which was the start of the dream because of the child being in the water, right? In the ocean. So same theme. But at the end of the role, what is interesting to me, or at the end of the dream, is the guide switches roles. He shows her that she is spending too much time being prepared to be defensive and protective in advance of when she ever needs it. So like she's coming up along and sees he's practicing martial arts, but she wanted to go into that house and play with the kids. So in other words, she wanted to have fun in life as a child. But instead, she spent her time thinking in advance of what she needed to be protective about and be prepared for before it would ever happen. And it might never, ever happen. And so we see the origin of her overprotective nature starts very early on for her, even almost before she comes into life. And I just find that part very, very interesting to see the switch. So the guide's always right. So what the guide is showing her in this part of the dream is what she did or what she still does to herself. And she agreed with that. She said, I do think about things. But then it kind of, like she works on a school board and is heavily involved in protecting the advancement and protections that have been put in place for marginalized groups and children. And, so she's helped put those in place for students. And she's at the point now where it's one of these roles where you have to get voted in, but you don't get any pay for it. I wonder, do you get any thanks at all? But the dream asks her to run again. And that's who the important people are at the right, in the front of the building. So it's asking her to run again because it's in a positive position on the right. But it should be sidelined. It shouldn't be like the only thing in her path. It should be a sideline. She must enjoy her life and consider her own growth first. And then she can run and be herself. Does that make sense?
It does. Wow, that's fabulous. Now let's talk about the red and white shirt, the red hair, and the little boy.
So we see boys all the way through it. And so
Yes.
this is the side that she's to work on, believing in herself, creating her own space. Like she's already got the feminine stuff. So we see the purple glove, like if we're just looking at colors, the purple glove is about spiritual leadership. But the church is also about spiritual leadership, and the people who are important at the front of the church, that's also about spiritual leadership. So we know that she has that skill, but she's overprotective and she's kind of like not enjoying life herself at the same time, even though she's very happy with where she is in life and really knows that she's doing good things for people. She's kind of like, you could say, an activist in a way, but too bothered about being an activist to be concerned about herself and focus on herself. The red and white is very good. The red and white is a very positive color combination and always is about the need for joy and hope in your future. So it's like, expect good things. And so here's the way the angels always say to do it. Look at things and help in things, but don't get attached to outcomes. Because if you get attached to an outcome, then you're no longer impartial. You're no longer able to be yourself. And the direction that this big, massive thing that's going on, like pick anything in the world, you can't control it. You can't control its direction. But if you attach yourself to a particular outcome, then the direction it goes in drags you with it in a way that's absolutely of no use to you, none whatsoever. You could look at the war in Ukraine, for example, as a good example of that. A lot of people are attached to that in a way that it diminishes their ability to live their own lives. And I'm not talking about either side of that or any arguments you could make about that war. It's the attachment to an outcome that, regardless of what it is what holds us back. And if you find yourself jumping up and down because I'm not being attached enough to the Ukraine war, that's exactly my point. Be aware of what's going on in the world and know how you feel about it, but don't be attached to it in a way that's going to be detrimental to you.
All right. And practicing martial arts?
Okay, practicing martial arts, that's the defensive part. So this is her preparing in case I need to defend something.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Now she added an addendum to this dream that I've got to read because I think it's fabulous. So I went into the swimming dream and changed it, that I did not disturb the baby at the bottom and I let him or her be there wondering. And then the baby got up and started swimming and being very comfortable in the ocean water. Wow. So explain what that means to go back into a dream and what this addendum is all about. Could you?
Yeah, I told her to do this after she told me the dream. I said, go back in and change this piece. And then there was another piece too. I told her to go in and get the guide out and play in the room. But this was the main thing. So it's like, as a child, as an infant, whatever age that child was in the dream, that's when she gave up on or adopted her overprotective nature. And so the dream has given her an opportunity to be the way she could have been. And so by just reworking the dream, all you do is you get into a meditative state, imagine this part of the dream again, and then change it. And it doesn't matter if there's time between when you got the dream originally and when you do this. Think of a dream like a letter from your higher self, and then you imagining something and going back into the dream is your response to that letter. We don't care if we get a letter 2 or 3 weeks later or 2 months later. We're just happy to get the letter and get a catch up on what the person's thinking and doing in their lives. And so that's the way it is with dreams. We are saying to our higher self, here's what I want, but much more importantly, we are telling our subconscious that this is what I want by reimagining this part of the dream. So a very effective way of healing.
Wow. So because she let the baby get up and start swimming, that was healing? That's how she healed in the dream?
Can you say that again? I didn't have the camera on you.
Oh, I said, so by letting the baby get up and start swimming, is that a sign that this is healing for her in the dream?
It's her accepting the healing of the dream that she didn't accept in the first place.
Ah, okay, cool. Wow, that's fabulous. And I love dreams about oceans. I do. Anyways, let's move on to our next dream. And this one's called The High Rise. And it's from Kate. And it's really short.
It isn't?
Dream starts.
I've broken it up into 3 scenes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. It's a lot longer than I thought. Dream starts out where I'm in an older house with multiple floors. I'm with my ex and a male friend of his.
Okay. So straight away, we know it's about masculine energy. That's what this dream is focusing on because we have the ex and a male friend. And I asked her, did she know who the male friend was? And if she did or didn't, and this is true if it's in your own dreams, if you don't know who they are, then it's saying that there's an aspect of you that you're not in touch with yet. There's an element of your own masculine energy you're unaware of. And if you do know who they are, then it can give you some clues as to either what's holding you back or what you need to step into. But anyway, it sets the premise for the dream, and the multiple floors. Then we expect this to go across some timeline because of the multiple floors.
Oh, interesting. Okay. The scene changes. I'm with my ex and his friend in a high rise. I'm teaching others how to stretch the legs and body. They thank me and comment how gentle and kind I am, and they appreciate the experience.
So really good. The high rise, of course, makes it a spiritual dream, but this is kind of like, ooh, this seems strange to have something that's just say about masculine energy and then with what it switches into. But I'll make sense of it, how it's a spiritual dream later. But she's teaching others how to stretch the legs and body. So this is her stretching herself. And the legs in particular are going to be about like making myself more ready to move forward in life, let's say, or stretching myself as I move forward in life. What do? They thank her and comment on how gentle and kind she is. Okay, she's a spiritual teacher because of the teaching part of this. But a nice positive part sticks it with what the theme was from the first little part. And she's the one that broke this up into the different scenes. So we're just following the way she sent it in. What's the next piece?
I'm in a high-rise condo building. My brother and I just bought a unit on the third floor. Our family is with us, and they point out the poor quality of the window installation, suggesting that we have them all reinstalled and properly sealed. Then they notice bullet holes everywhere, and several of the panoramic windows are shot up with blood lining the bullet holes. Oh my goodness, this is scary. Suddenly, I feel unsteady and not safe in the building, like the place could fall out from under me at any time. I go down to the front desk to file a report. My dad comes with me, but I tell him to let me handle it as he is worked up. It's a big desk in the center of the room. They are busy and cannot attend to me. They tell me to wait. The gal at the desk is in tears and overwhelmed. Her boss comes to help her. I notice an interaction behind me and to the right. They are noticing bullet holes like the ones I have in my unit. One of the staff comments, "Are my guys fighting again?" While someone outlines the section of the window that needs to be replaced, another one is outside replacing the windows immediately. Since I'm not getting help from the main desk, I decide to ask them to help me. That's the end of her dream. Wow, Michael, that is quite a scary dream.
Yes. Unlike what you normally say, Sandy. So
No.
we knew from the start when we see the ex and another male, we know it's ultimately most likely going to go back to dad. And then this part, it really does go back to dad. So we have the high-rise condo, we have the brother and the third floor. So this is going to go back to age 3. Family is with us, so it's family influence. And then the window installation. So she has a strong intuition. This is really important for her, this feminine energy connection. She knows things about things. You know, it's claircognizance, I think is how she describes it. But she has a blind spot in that because of issues that went on. We'll talk about that in a second. And they're saying anyway, all the windows have to be reinstalled and sealed. And then they notice bullet holes. So here we go. Okay, straight away, there's the dreamer has been around somebody who's very angry, because that's what bullet holes are going to represent. Bullets are going to represent. And we have panoramic windows. So she's prophetic. She's able to see the future again, but she has a blind spot. And they're shot up with the bullets, and there's blood lining the bullet holes. So the blood line, the way she says it, the bloodline is, this comes from her bloodline. So this is a father influence that impacts her intuition and prophetic ability in a negative way. And then she just feels not safe. So this not feeling safe is around dad. That comes from him. Like, masculine energy is all about feeling safe in the world, feeling like I'm in the right place and people have my back. We need dad to be that way for us, for dad to have our back as we, like, right from the day we come in and all the way through childhood. And if he doesn't, then we're not going to feel safe. And that, as simple as it sounds, is almost always going to be the precursor to abuse. If dad isn't there for you, the world isn't safe, You don't feel the world is safe. You attract things into your life to prove to you that the world isn't safe. Anyway, her dad is so over stressed about all of this that she says in the dream, like, I'll handle it. I'll take it from here. So not only was dad useless in this area, I was trying to find a polite way of saying it, but he was useless in this area. She took on her dad's responsibility at this super young age 3. So that is quite remarkable, to come in knowing things. Most kids are very unaware of anything, but she knew that this should be different. And dad's not living up to the role he's meant to play. So I'm going to do it. And that's pretty bad. So what else have we got? I noticed an interaction between me. Okay, so then she sees, okay, there's more stuff going on behind the receptionist. So the receptionist is like the start of life. So we started off with the partner. We're going back through life, back to age 3 now, and then back to the very start of life when we get to the reception desk. So things have gone on for quite some time. And the dream is saying, look, it goes right back to here, right back to the very start of life, because they're noticing bullet holes there, like the ones you have in your unit. And then she goes to the men who are outside replacing the windows. That's quite a super positive end. So I said to her, based on that end of that dream, where you're going to the men, because the issues with men, remember? So I'm going to these men who are going to help me. And she said, yes, I'm doing some serious work on myself. It's a year-long program. And I think it's working. And I said, well, it's definitely working based on this dream and based on how it ends. So I said at the start, which dream is going to be nicer? So the one where Mary's jumping in, trying to save the baby and all that sort of stuff and being nice to the kids, that seems like a nice dream. But that shows Mary not living her life. This one, that is a horrific dream, shows, I forget the fake name I gave, shows Kate doing the work on herself and healing stuff in her life. So don't be fooled by your dreams, how bad they are or how nice they are. Doesn't indicate whether you're living on your life path or not. Usually, if you're doing work on yourself, we expect to have bad dreams, nightmarish kind of dreams. And that means the work's done, that you're healing these negative things, and then life is going to get better and better for you. So here are my notes. She was abused by dad at age 3. So we see the 3 come up in the dream. And then was abused by a religious leader between 9 and 11, all those ages, and has been working with someone to heal her issues and connect with the divine. She has a strong intuition, but has a blind spot when it comes to the areas in which her dad affected her because of his anger and inability to create a protective space for her. And that's what the bullet holes in the windows and the bloodline represent. Her inner wisdom, in fact, told her that things should not be this way. And like I said, most children don't have it. She is prophetic. At the age 3, she decided to take on the role her father should have been playing. But the wisdom is always on. That's the way it is. That's the way that works for her. It's always switched on. But the blind spot is there when it comes to any issues connected to dad. And this dream shows that this is being repaired. And the men outside the building fixing the window, like I said, for her turning to them for help in the end is super fantastic.
That is awesome. I love the ending of that. It breaks my heart to hear and be able to see the symbols in this dream, to see what she's had to go through. But I'm excited that she went and she's getting help. That's awesome.
That's it. We're out of time. I know some of these dreams seem hard and some seem easy, but when we work with the people whose dreams these are, they're aware of these issues. Like the person who is abused is very aware of the issues, is working on those issues with somebody at this moment in time.
Anyways, that's it for this week. I hope everybody has a fabulous week and can actually see by these 2 dreams the value and the insight you can get from looking at your dreams. It's so empowering. It's amazing. Anyways, I'm done. I'm off my soapbox. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody. And realize, of course, that anybody who sends a dream in, they can talk to us after the show and we'll cover anything that we've brought up and any questions that they may also have. There's never a huge surprise about what's coming up. If you're abused, you already know it. But the point is, do you live with that and carry it through all the way through your life? Or can you work on yourself and finally get past it? And working through dreams helps you get past these issues and use them as a catalyst for growth rather than the cause of constant pain in your future. See you all next week.